Hello and welcome to another video. Today is another installment of me not knowing what to draw, so I just decided that I was going to upload the Speedpaint for the animatic that I did for Ruthlessness from Epic the Musical. I uploaded it on Monday, so if you guys want to check that out, you can go ahead and look at it. It's up on my channel, but yeah, I decided I was going to upload the Speedpaint. Like I said, I didn't really know what to draw this week, and I already had literally 14 hours of work put into that animatic. I thought it was only 10 hours, which is what I put at the end. Turns out it was closer to 14 hours of work that I did on it. And you know what is so funny about that? I put 14 hours into this because it was supposed to be like the finished version. It's not finished, obviously, but I had these thumbnail drawings that I did. I thumbnailed out the entire song, and that did not take as long as this video. It only took like half the time just because they were little thumbnail doodles. So yeah, I have 14 hours of footage. So I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and put in a speed paint for you guys. I don't have 14 hours of footage. This is just the speed paint that is recorded in Procreate, but it's 14 minutes because literally every hour of footage is changed into 1 minute in Procreate. So it's 14 hours of work. And I guess you're going to see why it took me so long, just because of the way I decided to go about stylizing this animatic. So I'm just going to go into basically my thought process behind the choices that I made for the style for the animatic. So what I decided to do was obviously I needed a design for Poseidon, and I put a little bit of thought into it, but mostly I was just trying to get my ideas down. So don't think of anything of this as like official or anything like that. Like I just came up with the first design I could think of, and I wanted him to be made of water, obviously, and I wanted him to have these little swirls in his eyes because my initial idea was that his eyes were going to be whirlpools, and that was going to come in later in the animatic. If you guys have heard the full song, you know what happens basically is that Poseidon drowns all of Odysseus's followers except for like one ship or something. And so the whole point of him having whirlpools for eyes was because when it's actually kind of dark, when they were going to be dead, they were going to be at the end when he's like staring into his face. He was going to see like his friend's dead body swirling in the whirlpools. So that was kind of the goal for those little circle like hypnotizing eyes that I draw him with. And so I know it's kind of dark. And then also when you see later the one where he makes the Cyclops eye out of water, it also has that same design of like the three little circles, also supposed to be like a whirlpool design, because just to show that the Cyclops is the son of Poseidon. And then I decided just to give him pointy ears, just because since he is a god, I felt like there should be a little bit more of like unhumanly features. So I gave him pointy ears, and then I gave him long hair just because Poseidon is supposed to be like he's associated with the sea, and then people usually associate like the ocean with like chill guys who like, go with the flow, surfer type guys who usually have pretty long hair. So, and also I decided I wanted his hair to be the ocean. So he is the ocean and his hair is the ocean. Obviously all of him is the ocean in this. I mean, I could have depicted him as like a guy, and I thought about that for a while, but I just felt like it would be more intimidating if he was like really huge, because in the song, the whole point of the song is that he's intimidating Odysseus, right? And he's being like, "Hey, I'm gonna kill you because you didn't just kill my son. You blinded my son, and basically you insulted me, and so I'm gonna kill you." So I wanted him to have like an intimidating air. So I felt like making him really big would be very intimidating. And then I made him have like a smile on his face the whole time, just because even though he is angry, right, he's still kind of like playing with Odysseus, I guess. Like he's not worried about anything Odysseus could do to him, and he's kind of like kind of like rubbing it in his face, kind of that he's gonna kill him, if that makes sense. Not because I feel like he's particularly vindictive or anything. I just felt like it would be like a cool sort of like villain motif, if that makes sense, because I wouldn't say Poseidon is a villain in ancient Greek mythology, but he is definitely the villain slash antagonist in Epic the Musical. That's like the whole thing. Odysseus is trying to get home, and Poseidon is doing his best to make sure he doesn't get home, and he's trying to kill him. So, yeah. So I felt like just making him really big and have like that really intimidating smile on his face until he gets actually pissed. So in this first part, he pretty much has the smile on his face the whole time. And then when it gets into the second part, where he's like, "I'm actually really gonna kill you," that smile drops. You just haven't seen that part of the animatic yet. But yeah, so he just has a smile at the beginning to like be uneasy, and then towards the second half he's gonna have dropped the smile because he's actually getting serious, if that makes sense. I don't really have much to say about Odysseus's design, just because I pretty much just went for like the regular design that people make for Odysseus, just long curly-ish type hair. I didn't really put that much thought into Odysseus, which is unfortunate to say, but I was really just trying to focus more on Poseidon because this is Poseidon's song, right? So I felt like most of the focus should be on him, and there's gonna be more reactions and stuff from Odysseus later on that I have planned out in the animatic, but this was just the first section that I was working on. And the reason why it took so long is I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a lot of hatching. If you've been on my YouTube videos for a while, you know that I love hatching. And so I decided that I was going to incorporate hatching into this by making the ocean black. So I set the whole thing to gray because I thought if it was white, it would be uh, I don't know, it'd just be too bright. I wanted it to be kind of like a cloudy night, basically. Well, not a cloudy night. So it was supposed to be like a normal night, and then the storm rolls in to signify the arrival of Poseidon, which would be at the beginning of the animatic, which I do have thumbed out, but I didn't show it in this section. So basically, the clouds are rolling in, and so it gets darker, and that's why the canvas is gray. And so I was like, well, I don't want to make the ocean white, right? I wanted to have a little bit more contrast. So I made the ocean black because if you ever been into the ocean when there's a storm, the water does get like really dark. So, because it's reflecting the sky, you know? And so I also wanted Poseidon to be part of the water, but I feel like I have to figure out a better way to do that because if the water is black, but then Poseidon, when he comes up, only his hair is still water. So it's like, is he standing in the water? I'm like, well, no, he's not sitting in the water. He is the water. So I have to figure out a way to translate that a little bit better. And so basically, when I was figuring out what thumbnail poses I wanted to do for these, I really wanted Poseidon to be moving around a lot just to show that in the water is his domain, right? Odysseus and all of his friends are really off kilter because they're in the ocean. If they wanted to fight back, there's really nothing they could do. There's no ground to stand on. Poseidon has entire domain in the water, right? So they're basically under his mercy, and like he's already said, he doesn't have any mercy. So basically, they're all going to drown. And so I just wanted it to be really disorientating with him moving all around and showing that he really is in control of the situation. And so I really wanted the water to have a good amount of movement. That's why there's like parts of the animatic, like where he rises up out of the water is to show that he is the water. And then he moves the water with his hands. And the parts where he sinks back down in the water and then he comes back up. All of that just to show that he can do whatever he wants in the water. He moves around a lot and stuff like that. And I had part of it, I didn't actually plan on fully animating any of this, but the section where he drops into the water and then pops back out the second time, it actually goes by really fast in the animatic just because I had decided that I wanted all those frames to go in a very short period of time in between lyrics. And so it did end up looking a little bit more animated than I had planned it to look. I mean, I don't think it looks bad. I just feel like it's a little bit fast. So I have to work on the timing of that, maybe get rid of a couple of frames there. But I think it works pretty well overall. I wouldn't really consider myself much of an animator or anything. I'm just a person who likes to dabble in animation from time to time just because I think it's so fun when the pictures move. Which kind of makes me sound a little bit childish, but I do think it's really cool when you spend time working on a bunch of drawings and you're like, they don't really fit together. And then you play them all together and they look and they're moving. I just think that's really cool. So I wanted to do this animatic just because I've been listening to the song a lot, especially when it came out. I animated it. I not animated. I worked on this animatic right when the song came out, when the Ocean Saga came out. And so I was Ruthlessness was not my favorite song on that. It's my second favorite song on that part of the Ocean Saga. My favorite song is actually Luck Runs Out. That was my favorite song even when it was a demo. I liked that song so much. But I really liked Ruthlessness also. I just really had when I was listening to Ruthlessness, I really just had a picture of what I wanted it to look like in my head. And so that's why I decided to make an animatic for it. I just really feel like the songs in Epic really translate well for animation just because they're like really sweeping concepts and really ambitious. And so I just wanted to be a little bit part of that. So I decided to make this just to get like the vision out of my mind a little bit. So I do have plans on finishing the rest of this animatic. I just don't know when that would be just because the part that I posted was only 45 seconds and the song is about 4.5 minutes long. So it would take me about another 30, 40 hours to finish it. So I wouldn't expect it anytime soon. Unfortunately, I do plan on working on it periodically for the next coming months. I just don't know if I will ever really finish it, if I'm being honest, just because this really took so long. And it's not that I lost passion. I still really like the song. I still really like the animatic. It takes so long to animate things, even if it's not a full animation like this is just an animatic. It takes so long just to draw frames for everything. And it's not even that I was drawing all new frames. Like for these several of the frames I just copied and I just changed the positions of them a little bit. which you'll see me do a little bit later. I did it more in the second half than at the beginning half, because at the beginning I was like, I'll just redraw everything, which is like, no, don't just redraw everything. If you're gonna make animation, I would just say reuse frames whenever you can, just because it takes so long and there are so many drawings that you have to get done. If you have the ability to reuse a frame. Okay, I learned that the hard way. I try to be stubborn and try to do things the hard way, but it's like there's no reason to be stubborn. There's no reason to do things the hard way. If it's easier to get it done and then it'll get it done faster, get it done faster. Work smarter, not harder, you guys. There's a reason why people say that, okay? Just just work smarter. All that to say is I don't know when I'm going to be able to post the finished animatic. Like I said, I'm not really an animatic slash animation person. I don't really practice. I just do them from time to time. I've done animatics in the past. This is the first animatic I've ever posted. So I hope that people liked it. I don't know. So, but yeah, I don't know when I'm going to post the finished one. And I have ideas for other animatics to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to post any more just because they take a long time, so if I am gonna post them, it'll be way in the future. And the only reason I ended up posting this animatic in the first place was because my sister was like, "Just post it. You have this part done. You might as well just post it." And I was like, "I guess I should. Might as well just post it." I really don't like posting works in progress, but then I realized that I post works in progress all the time on my channel, so I was like, "This is on brand for me." All of my videos are like half completed, and I finish them again at a later date, so I was like, yeah, I'll just post the animatic. I'll just post the work in progress. And also, if I post the work in progress, I could get a little bit of feedback on it, see what people liked or didn't like. And I think that's the good thing about posting your art online is you get some feedback. I'm always open to constructive criticism. Like, I'm not open to when people are just like, your art is ugly and I hate it. That's like, fine. I mean, you can hate it or anything, right? It's none of my business. You don't need to tell me that my art is ugly. But if you could be like, oh, well, I think the composition would be stronger this way, or I think the character design would be stronger this way, that stuff, I'm super open to that sort of things. I love constructive criticism and I love feedback. And so if anybody ever has any feedback for me that is constructive and put in a way that won't hurt my feelings, I'm completely open to it. That's not to say that I think the internet exists for people to be coddled on it, but I don't feel like people have the right to be mean to you. And even if people want to be mean to you, you have the right to not listen to them, right? So just because you give advice to somebody, right, and you're trying to be constructive, if you do it in like a dickish way, nobody wants to hear that, dude, okay? So anyway, back to the process. When I was drawing the hands here, I wanted it to be a bit more of him smashing the the water. But I feel like it doesn't look aggressive enough. It looks like he's just clapping his hands. So I feel like if I was gonna redo this, I would go ahead and make it look a bit more forceful when he snaps the water shut. And then I'm just drawing him with a scary open-eyed look. If you guys have been on my channel for a while, you know that I really like when someone's trying to look intimidated where their eyes get really wide, right? It's kind of not really like the Kubrick stare, because the Kubrick stare, your eyes do get kind of, you're supposed to open your eyes kind of really wide and then you put your head down to like make this really unnerving stare. So it's not really like that except for the eyes get really wide. It's more of like a thing that they do in anime. And so I felt like Epic is kind of sort of inspired by anime and video games and stuff. And so I felt like the look made a little bit of sense. So that's what I decided to go for. And also, I really wanted emphasis on the whirlpool eyes. I just had to figure out what I'm going to do, because I think I might just animate them swirling when I do the finished animatic, so that way it's more clear that his eyes are supposed to be whirlpools, because without coloring it, since I just wanted this to be an animatic, it's just in black and white, or gray and gray or whatever. So I don't really have any color to convey it. And if I did color it, it would take twice as long, so I'm not gonna color it. But yeah, I think I might just animate his eyes just rotating slightly so that the idea of whirlpool is conveyed a little bit more. Because, man, like I said, I don't really feel like this design, the character design for Poseidon, is especially strong, but I do think the idea of those whirlpool eyes is a pretty good motif. So I'm really gonna try and get them correct in the way that I like. And then this is just the end. You see me animating myself with a little white flag just because I was giving up. But I'm not giving up. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it later, guys. I promise. I just don't know when it'll be done. So that's the end of the video. I'd like to thank you guys for spending this time with me. I'll go ahead and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.